Hey there, welcome to another weekly wrap-up. Not a lot to talk about this week, so let's just get started. First book haul. Barnes & Noble had another weekend where they had double points and triple points if you're a member, if you're in their membership. Then if you have the premium membership, which I do, it's triple points. And then on top of that, they had what's called their, I think they call it their book haul. Essentially, a bunch of selected titles are 50% off. Hardcover titles are 50% off. So I had to go. So first, I guess from the book haul itself, which I was very surprised and excited to get, I actually got The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. This is the third book in the J. Daniels trilogy. I wanted to match the paperbacks. I have the paperbacks for the first two, but honestly, it was 50% off. I want to read these. I'll probably finish the series by the end of the year, and I don't care that much. Like, I do care, but not that much. So, not enough to put off a chance like this and, you know, to get to finish it out. So, Angel of Indian Lake. Next, I got The Night Guest by Hildur Knútsdóttir. I think I said that right. This is, technically this isn't out until September 3rd, which is this upcoming Tuesday. But sometimes the Barnes & Nobles I go to, they like to put books out a couple days early. So this was there. This is a translated Icelandic novella about this woman who is very fatigued. Nobody can figure out why until one night after buying a step counter watch, she goes to sleep with it still on and wakes up and shows that she walked 40,000 steps in the middle of the night, and everything goes on from there. I have no idea what else is going on from there, but I'm very intrigued. Probably going to get to this next. I'm very, very intrigued by this. I read the first 2 or 3 chapters at the bookstore and really enjoyed it. So next, I got Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. I liked, what was her last one that I read? The one about werewolves. I'm completely blanking. The one where the werewolf one she wrote. And she writes this type of horror that feels like it should be women's contemporary fiction, but it's horror also. So it's a very weird juxtaposition that she works in, but I kind of do want to keep giving her a try because I feel like when it'll work for me, that is something that I'd be very interested in. So I'm giving Black Sheep a try. And then lastly, I wasn't going to buy this, but I did. Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan. After my friend Ashley over at The Answer Is Books read this last month. It's September now. She read this last month, really enjoyed it, gave it 5 stars, and she really sold it to me. And as soon as I saw that video, I went to Libby and, you know, put a little notify me on when they added them to, when my libraries added them. I got the notifications the day it came out, and I was lucky enough to get first in line for the audio and the ebook. So I had been like tandem reading it that way, and I was enjoying it so much. And then the Barnes & Noble I went to, they have a Romantasy book club, and this was going to be their September pick. And also, Barnes & Noble does what's called Our Pick. So they pick like 5 books across genres every month, and you can get them 50% off if you're a member. So all that put together, I got this for 50% off, and I figured why not. I am about that far in, but I will talk about that later on in my currently reading. These are all backwards. I hope they look okay. Wow, that looks really silly. Upside down. These are the 4 books I bought this week. Was it Friday? Friday. I bought them Friday. So yeah, I do have plans to work these 2 into a vlog. I guess my first kind of vlog project that I want to do, or that I've had a few vlog ideas, but this may be the first one that actually goes through because I'm excited to read all of them. So yeah, we'll see how soon I get to these. Like, obviously I'm reading this now, but you know, yeah, book haul. All right, so what have I finished since we last talked? The first thing I finished is called Sinophagia, a celebration of Chinese horror. This is edited by Xueting Christine Ni. I got this as an ARC on NetGalley, and I really enjoyed the project of this. So essentially, like it says, it's a celebration of Chinese horror. And the first thing that I was super impressed by was the editor's introduction, where she really talks about the process of putting this together and explains how horror as a genre is written about and talked about in China, and how much of a difficulty she had getting stories for this, because so many of the stories that she wanted of those who would actually listen to her and accept to send something, she said so many were misogynistic. She had a hard time, like she really had to work to find women writers to include. So she did her best to really have a buffet of different types of authors in this. And I'm really grateful for that introduction. I think if you do want to read this, don't skip that introduction. It gives a lot of background details that really informed the way I was reading the stories, because I gave this a 3.5 rounded up to 4 because a lot of the stories didn't quite work for me, but I could tell that was because this is a genre pulling from Chinese. It tends to pull more from Chinese folklore and that type of writing than it does the horror that I am used to reading from a Western lens. So I was really grateful to have the editor's introduction in the background of my mind while reading these, because while the stories didn't quite hit for me, I think a lot of that is because I'm just not used to that type of storytelling, that type of horror. So it was just really hard to really connect with. So it is otherwise a very solid collection. Like if you're really interested in horror, if you're interested in reading more translated works or anything like that, I definitely think you should give it a try. It's well worth it, and I think you should give it a try anyways, just to expand your reading. If you're already reading stuff like this, kudos to you. I'm very proud of you. But I really think stuff like this should be read because it does nothing but good to us as a society and to us individually as people if we're exposing ourselves to different genres, different countries, different ways that people write within genres that we enjoy. So like I said, 3.5 rounded up to 4, but definitely a collection you should check out. And then I finally did it. I finished Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. I've probably been reading this for a couple of months. Obviously, there's a span of time where I just didn't pick it up for like a month or two. But I finally finished it, and I gave it a 3. Now, in my rating scale, 3 is I liked it. But I think, and it's so hard to gauge why I'm not, like, this isn't hitting for me the way it does for a lot of people. I gave the first book, The Way of Kings, 5 stars, but The Way of Kings, I think it had the same issues that I personally am finding with Words of Radiance, but Way of Kings was so new and novel to me, and I was just so taken with it. I was taken with the Sanderlanche at the end that I was just kind of blown away, and I gave it 5 stars. Now, Words of Radiance is doing the same things that bugged me about Way of Kings, but I didn't have the same like excitement for it, or the newness of it wasn't hitting for me, so 3 stars. And I think the main problem for me, and this is a me thing, and it's so hard to articulate, is that these books are too long. And listen, I don't have problems with long books. I really don't. I enjoyed The Way of Kings. It's 1,000 pages. This is, I don't know, almost the same. But I feel like this is too long. And the problem with that is also that I don't think that there's any real wasted time in this. Maybe some things, I feel like maybe every scene maybe can have some pages shaved off. Like everything can probably get a couple pages shaved off, but everything that is included in this, I can see why. I can see why it's needed for grander storytelling, grander character work, grander macro plot arcs. I can see why everything is there. I can see the necessity for it. I can see why Sanderson thought he wanted it. I can see why all of these puzzle pieces are being included for the story and also the grander Stormlight archives as a whole, but it still felt too long. It still felt like there was so much, and it was exhausting. Like, I really want to love this, but it's just exhausting reading 1,000 pages. And the thing is, I'm still going to read the next book. I think, is it Oathbringer? I think is the next one. I'm still going to read it, but I'm just like, it's 1,000 pages. It's gonna be painful. So I'm just gonna try to power through it in September. Okay, so I want to catch up so that I can be caught up for Wind and Truth in December, at the beginning of December. So I have September, October, in November. So I'm hoping that's 2 books, but that's still 2,000 pages to read in this series while reading other stuff before the book comes out. So we'll see. I don't know what there is to say about Sanderson that has been said. If you're reading fantasy, you already know. If you haven't read him already, you've still heard of him. I'm sure there are tons of people who've already talked about these books. I like the plotting. I'm very impressed with the absolute massive grand scale of what Sanderson is doing here. But yeah, like I said, it's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, it's so conflicted. Like and the thing is, like, the way I feel about it, it's not anything really bad. It's just how I feel reading the actual books. So it's weird, but I am going to continue. You will see me reading the next book in the next couple of months. But I finally finished it. It took me like, I don't know, a week to read The Way of Kings, and took me months to read Words of Radiance. But we'll see what the next book will bring. We are on to my currently reading. Yeah, that's all I had for what I finished since last week, because Words of Radiance. I'm currently reading. I am currently reading Long Live Evil. Like I said during the book haul portion, I got this the day that it came out in my libraries, and I was enjoying it. On sale, picked it up. I am chapter 14, 164 pages in. Now, this is essentially a story. It's essentially an isekai, which in manga and Japanese genre terms is when someone is taken from our world and somehow put into another world, and they have to figure out what to do, how to survive. So in this story, our main character, Rachel, she, and I'm going to say this because nothing in the synopsis says this, and thankfully Ashley mentioned this too, so I knew that going in, but Rachel, it says she is dying, and she's given a bargain to go to the world of these books that her and her sister love, that her sister loves. Rachel is dying from stage 4 cancer. Like, she is literally in the hospital, and you are in her mind. You are in the narration is first person. I'm pretty sure. Yes. No, it's third person, whatever. But you're still with Rachel. And it's very, very, there's no shying away from it. She talks a lot about how she feels, the pain. There's a lot of discussion of her and her sister, and how mention of death and just like everything. So if you're sensitive to cancer, and I know with how prevalent cancer is in humanity now, I'm sure it's very rare to find someone who hasn't had a friend or family member pass from cancer, or a friend or family member had someone who passed from cancer. So I have had people in my life pass from cancer. So it's a struggle. But I'm glad that Ashley said that in her review of this, because I knew that going in, so it wasn't a shock for me. But yeah, she is dying of cancer. Our main character is dying of cancer. She is given this bargain to go into this book world that her and her sister love, and she has to get like this flower in the book world that can cure her when she comes back. Ray goes into the world, and she is incarnated as the villainous Rahela, who is murdered very gruesomely in the first book. So she has to figure out how to survive and what she needs to do to get access to this flower that will cure her. As far as I've gone, this part, like, it's really, so much has happened, but also not a lot has happened. It's very weird. But it's a kind of long book. I think it's like, it's not that long. It's like 450 pages. But it's so meta. It's so incredibly meta. It's so romantic-y meta on top of that. And then I just love everything about what it's doing. I enjoy isekai as a subgenre. I enjoy isekai, period. But I enjoy what this is doing, and I enjoy the mix of Ray going into the world, but also there are like sometimes we get point of view chapters from other characters that are in the book. Every chapter starts with something from the book itself. So this book is a living thing, and you're getting as much of the book as you are Ree's story. So I love the nested kind of genre work that we're doing here, but I'm enjoying it. I really am. That's all I got to say about it. So hopefully I will get to finish this within this week. And I'm hoping it's a series, the Time of Iron, that's the name of the book. So Time of Iron series. I'm hoping the ending is not crazy cliffhanger-y, because I don't know how long we're going to wait for the next one, but I'm enjoying this, and hopefully it's going to stay on this, like, it's feeling like a 4 right now, but hopefully it's going to keep going and raising on that trajectory. So long live evil, enjoying it. And what else I'm currently reading is Gorgeous Gruesome Faces by Linda Cheng. This is a K-pop related book. And this is essentially about this girl. She was in a 3-person K-pop group that came off like a TV show, and they kind of were ruined by scandal, and one of the members killed herself. And now, years later, she and the other remaining member of the group, they end up in this sort of competition for a new girl group. And there's some weird stuff happening. We're kind of uncovering what actually happened with them in the past. There's maybe some like ghosty stuff going on, maybe some supernatural stuff. Not totally sure yet. I am 115 pages in, and let me tell you, I read this in one sitting without even realizing it. I was like, oh, let me finally pick this up and see if I'm in the mood for it, and then I was 115 pages in. So I'm enjoying it. It's a very easy read. It's YA. I'm getting a lot more out of it because I enjoy K-pop, but I think even if you don't like K-pop, this is still doing enough work to set up this world and the characters and everything going on that you don't need to know K-pop to enjoy this. It's not like they're actually related to actual K-pop groups. It's not taking place in South Korea. It's taking place in Alabama, I think. So it's very American, but still K-pop. So I'm enjoying it. I love this cover. You see the sparkles on her eye. Her hair kind of looks like blood. Yeah. So, and diamonds on the, yeah. So enjoying it. We'll see where it goes. It's feeling like a solid 3.5 right now, but it has the potential to get better. So that is what else I'm reading. That's all I got for this week. Yeah. So as always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you are reading this week, or if you don't have anything to say or just want to like kind of check in and let me know you're here, how about you leave me an emoji, maybe like one of those twinkling stars or sparkling stars or something for Gorgeous Gruesome Faces. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye.